of a talking video. No fancy travel vlogs, unfortunately. Melbourne is back in lockdown. Lockdown number 6. So that's been a bit crazy. I'm sitting on my bedroom floor because there's not really many places in this house where there's some light coming in, so I'm nice and close to a window, and I obviously don't have my own light source, being that I normally do travel vlogs, but a lot has been happening in my life for the last year, 2 years, and the reason I've made this vlog today is because I want to talk about my ADHD diagnosis, as it is quite a recent thing, and I know myself that I've struggled to find people who are women and adults who are diagnosed with ADD or ADHD. So I just want to talk about my experience, especially now that I'm medicated, and I guess we can talk. I just want to talk about my experience now that I'm medicated, and hopefully someone else might find it a little bit useful, or maybe a little bit less lonesome like I found it. So I guess I've always I never thought that I mean ADHD never crossed my mind. I've actually studied psychology. I'm not a psychologist. I did go to uni for psychology, and I did study justice, which had a large component of psychology, but in both of those, actually, my main, I guess, thing that I took away, and the thing that I was most interested in was like mood disorders and things like that, and criminal psychology, things like that, so criminology and things. So I didn't really learn much about ADHD, and I'm going to be using ADHD and ADD interchangeably because I'm not quite sure which is the appropriate term, one, for what I have, but also two, just in general, because I'm working under the understanding that it's not called ADD anymore, it's called ADHD, and you either have, like you say, ADHD, and you either have the inattentive type or the hyperactive type, or you have a mixture of both. So they don't call it ADD anymore, they just call it ADHD, and you have to specify obviously which type that you have. And plot twist, I have the non-useful type. I don't want to offend anyone when I say that. I know both are obviously really difficult, but I am trying to make light and have a bit of a laugh about my situation as a coping mechanism. So I do often, sorry, I have to keep pulling my pants up. So I do often refer to my inattentive type as the shit type. You know, I wish I was an overachiever or hyperactive. Maybe I'd get more shit done, but unfortunately I've got the boring type that you just kind of sleep and can't pay attention. Again, I know everybody's diagnosis is different, so if I say something that doesn't pertain to you or you feel is incorrect, I am very sorry. I'm very much at the start of this journey, and the reason I am making this video is because I do need to reach out. I do need to meet people who have had late stage late age diagnosis, because I have no resources, but I'll get into that in a second. I have no eyebrows as well. I also have, I call it trichotillomania, but when I spoke to the psychiatrist for the 10 seconds that I did, he said it was probably anxiety, but it's more like, he didn't ask me anything about it. He was just like, that's anxiety, you're doing it because you're anxious, do yoga. He told me to do yoga. But I'm certain that I would get a diagnosis for that if he actually asked me anything about it, because it's a compulsion and I can't stop pulling my eyebrows out. And this is what I'm left with, which is really sad, because one thing I really liked about myself is that I didn't need to fill in my eyebrows. I didn't need to do anything. They were just so dark and thick that I could just, that's my life. And now I'm here. So I'm holding this because I do intend to put eyebrows on, but I did just want to show you, because I did hear that ADHD has other disorders that can often pair with it, and one of them being like OCD type stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to show you, you know, that this is where I'm at. Oh gosh, and again, I just want to reiterate that I do joke a lot. It's my coping mechanism. So if I make a joke about something and you find it's very insensitive, please let me know in the comments. I will try to do better. I will try to like steer clear of that, obviously, but it is a coping mechanism that I've had all my entire life. Okay, so, oh, who has ADD? Keeps jumping from one thing to another. So, I went on TikTok, and for some reason, ADHD, ADD, TikToks kept kind of showing up in my feed. And oddly, I was like, oh my god, that's me. Oh my god, that's me. And I think a lot of people can probably do that with a lot of like TikToks. You find things to relate to, and everybody's kind of got some weird things, but these TikToks were really like speaking to me, and I just kind of started a health journey in another part of my life, which is with my PCOS and endometriosis, and I was finding I was getting better, particularly with my mood and my concentration, mostly motivation and mood, because I had chronic lethargy, and I was getting better, but then I'd hit this sort of plateau, and I just wasn't getting any better than that. And so I was watching these TikToks, and I just kept relating to everything these people kept saying. I'm like, hang on a second, I might have ADD. All these symptoms and all these stories that people are saying really speak volumes to me. So I decided to pay quite extensively to have a psychiatrist diagnose me, and that was quite traumatic. I paid privately to do that. So here in Australia it cost me $450 for a diagnosis, and I went to this place. I was very anxious, and this doctor greeted me at the door. Well, no, he didn't really greet me at the door. He said, "Sharina," and I went in, pointed to sit down, so I sat down, and he sat on the other side of the room and handed me a checklist, as they do, to try and diagnose these disorders, and you know, tick, yep, do that, yep, do that often. And then he kind of reiterated some of the questions, asking me kind of like a second time, you know, do you do this, do you do that? So he checked to see, like, reiterated some of the questions to just double check, I suppose, my answers, to make sure I wasn't lying. And he spoke like he was on drugs. That sounds awful, but he blinked so slow. Like, I will give an example, and I'm not exaggerating. This was actually how he spoke to me and how slow he blinked. He was like, so you could do yoga. It's kind of good for anxiety. You could just go for a walk. He didn't sound like I do, obviously, but for some reason he was just like, his nervous system would just slow down. Like, maybe he was taking some of those drugs, I don't know. That's probably bad to assume, but it was just really traumatic to walk in there and this guy not even ask me how I am, ask me any questions about myself, just hand me a piece of paper for me to fill out, then ask me those same questions that I just filled out, and then be like, yep, okay, according to, you know, the DSM, you have ADD, like, or ADHD, I don't know what term to use there, but you have the inattentive type. Let's put you on some medication, and that will give us the absolute confirmation that you do or don't have ADD. So according to the manual, yes, but let's get a confirmation by taking these drugs and seeing if you have an improvement. So I guess some of the symptoms I want to talk about that I have, that I just thought were me, and were me being lazy and unmotivated and stupid and unthoughtful and things like that. And I've had my entire life, I've always been this way, is that I have no concept of time. It's like, it's either happening now or it's not happening now, and it's a later problem, like it's a shown up in the future problem. So I have no concept of like time sometimes, like how long something takes. I just checked how long we were recording this, and I was at 11 minutes, and I was like, I can't believe I've been talking for 11 minutes. It feels like I've been talking for 2. I have no concept of time, which makes organisation very, very difficult. God forbid if I ever, you know, commit a murder and I need to like have a I'd be the worst at trying to make my own alibi, because the cop would be like, where were you from here to here to here, and I'd be like, fuck, I can't work out how long it takes to get to all these places, and how long I should have been at one or the others, so that they don't know that I was at the crime. Like, so yeah, couldn't be a criminal. So time management, understanding time, all very difficult. I have a hard time. I noticed I complete people's sentences with them, and I think that's a form of impatience. I don't want them to hurry up and shut up when I'm doing it, but for some reason, when I'm talking to someone, I actually use it as a form of I'm listening, and I understand what you're saying. So if someone was like to me, I'm going to the beach tomorrow, it's the best place because it's so sunny, I'd be like with them, I'd be like yes, and as I say it's so sunny, I'd be like, it's so sunny. Like, I always complete people's sentences with them, or help them finish the sentence, like the last word or the last 2 words, if they're like and I'll be like, sunny, and you'd be like, yeah, sunny. I do it all the time, which I just thought was a normal conversational thing, but apparently nope. What else? So those are probably the two. The time issues is probably my biggest issue. I can't concentrate. I jump from here to there to there to there to back around, as you can probably tell by this video. I'm going to try not to edit this so it's streamlined and I make sense, because I think it's important for you to see how my brain works, and see how the brain goes from here to there and back again. So I am wearing my pajamas. Yeah, so not being able to sit down and concentrate for a really long time, or I find a lot, the hardest part for me is not so much concentrating. I do struggle with it, but the hardest part for me is starting. I cannot start. I will physically lay immobilized because I'm using up so much brain energy thinking about starting, and then doing this circle of I should start, I haven't started, anxiety, you're such a bad person, you're so lazy, why didn't you start? And then I just do this. Yeah, starting is the hardest part for me. I find socializing sucks the energy from me, and when I was younger I used to be able to mask a lot better, and as I'm getting older, or maybe I've just been out of practice, but I will watch myself from outside myself just shut down, and I used to be able to smile through it and laugh through it and let the people talk through it, but as I've gotten older, I've just watched myself just go from and just and just look like this at them. And that's normally just because I'm depleted, the energy is gone, I'm exhausted. I mean, that's just my 3 major symptoms, to be honest. There is a lot of little ones, or things that other people are mentioning that I've been like, yes, that's me. But I find it very hard to reflect and kind of point to my characteristics and be like, that's an ADD thing, because it's me. I've been this way all my life, so I just assume that it's who I am. It's not actually a symptom of ADD. It's just who I am. And that's been one of the hardest things too, is mourning for I thought so little of my life. I've thought so little of myself all my life. I've hated myself. I've thought I was the dumbest person ever. I told you that I've studied psychology. I didn't complete psychology because I couldn't cope with the workload of university, so I only did 2 years. I didn't do my 3rd year, and the 2 years that I did do were an absolute shit show. And now I'm back in school, as in I'm studying again, and I'm struggling again, and that's why I went and bothered to go get this diagnosis, because I need help. If I do have ADD, I need help. I don't know how to function as a person, as a student. I don't have any study resources. I don't know how to learn with what I have. Like, all the other, I suppose, study stuff isn't going to be applicable to my brain. I need to learn to be a human, a functioning human with what I have. And I thought getting a diagnosis would do that for me. It would help me have access to resources and understand myself and understand how to be a better person and a function member of society. But thus far, all they've done is prescribe me medication, which I know is a big part, but nobody's, like, even the psychiatrist hasn't sort of explained to me what ADD is, and explain to me symptoms and why things are, and chemical imbalances, and you know, is this genetic? Do I have is there a chance that I could pass this on, or did someone pass it on to me? And I'm having to do all my own research, and it's very difficult. Yeah, it's very difficult. So I'm going to talk about the medication. Medication's not for everybody. Some people like it, some people it works great, some people it doesn't. I was very nervous about starting medication because it is a stimulant, so it has amphetamines in it, which made me very nervous as someone who isn't a drug taker, as in, like, I think I've done drugs maybe twice in my life. Mind you, I had cocaine once, was one of the drugs that I had, and I felt amazing. I loved it so much, and now I understand why. Because it gave me dopamine that my brain needed to function like a normal human being, so I was just on the same level as everybody else. But I've never taken drugs recreationally, and as a result, the idea of taking a stimulant every day has really freaked me out, especially with like liver and kidney, because I'm also taking other medication. I'm taking medication for PCOS, and I'm taking another medication on top of that, which is also for PCOS, but it's a different, like a diuretic type thing. It helps me, helps my kidneys kind of, instead of absorbing excess progesterone, flush it out of my body through diuretics. And so I'm taking a lot of medications, and I'm very nervous about my kidney and my liver health. But I have found with the medication, my energy levels have just skyrocketed. I'm so motivated to do things. Initially, I was probably too motivated. I was a little bit too like, must do something. But it's those symptoms symptoms of the drug are dying off now, and I'm starting to even out, and it's a little bit more normal instead of manic, I suppose. And so I'm so much more motivated to do things. I feel a lot happier, which is amazing. I have found focusing is a lot better. I'm able to stay on track. I'm able to, when someone's talking to me, look them in the eyes and listen, and mostly absorb what they're saying without being like, what's happening over here? Or panicking about what I'm going to say next, or panicking about how they're perceiving me through this conversation. So I found those have been major changes, which has been really good. I will say sleeping, I am a pro sleeper. If sleeping was an Olympic sport, I would kick everybody in this world's ass. I would 100% win gold, always. I can go to sleep like that, I can stay asleep like that, and well, prior to the drugs, I couldn't. I had a hard time getting up, but now on the drugs, eyes are open and I'm up, which is great. Maybe I'll be more productive in my life, and that's what I'm hoping for. This is why I'm trying to do this. I want to be productive. I want to be someone who is able to learn things. I'm so sick of wanting things and just not having, I don't know if it's the drive or the mental capacity or whatever to do them. Like, I wanted to learn ASL, Australian Sign Language, forever. And why haven't I done it? Why haven't I done it? I haven't done it because I don't have the brain capacity to do it. I can't sit down and focus it, especially if I'm doing my schoolwork. That's it. That's all my brain capacity. I don't have capacity to be anything else. So I've had some really good responses to the drug. which makes me both excited, but also I was kind of, I don't know, maybe somewhere in me I was kind of hoping that I didn't have a good response, and then I wouldn't be diagnosed with ADD and things like that. I have had some trouble getting to sleep, which is a different universe for me. Like, as I said, I sleep very well, so that's been a little bit different. And I've had some maybe like strange intestinal issues lately. That's only been the last couple of days, but my main concern is that I have no hunger, no desire to eat at all, which is scary for someone who has had eating disorders. So I find myself thinking, when's the last time I ate? And realizing it wasn't like I haven't eaten at all last night, the night before, and I haven't eaten all today, and having to like get something high calorie into my body because I don't know if I'm going to remember to eat dinner because I don't feel hungry. And the thought of food actually kind of makes me feel a little so that's probably the biggest one, and I do really need to monitor that. I need to set times to eat and just eat, whether I feel like eating or don't feel like eating. I just need to eat because it's time to eat. I think COVID's really forced me to have to do all these things, like obviously because I'm living with myself and there's nothing else to do, and most people have hobbies and I don't have a hobby. I don't have any hobbies. I tried to make YouTube my hobby, but like everything with ADD, I got over it within 5 seconds. After, you know, spending all my money on equipment. So COVID's really forced me to pay attention and try and get these things addressed and sorted and understood. Medication's been good, but I do need help with resources, with understanding myself. If you have ADD and you're a woman, and I mean, I don't mind if it wasn't like a late diagnosis or anything like that. Do you have, oh, and the inattentive type would be ideal, obviously. Do you have resources that can help me learn about myself, that can help me study, that can help me socialize better, that can help me organize and become productive is the main issue. Alright, so the whole end of this video cut off because the camera only records for half an hour, and I don't want to cut anything because I really want to demonstrate how my mind goes from here to there. I should also say that I haven't actually had my meds today. I've had my meds every other day. I'm not taking them today because I've been having a couple of stomach issues, so I just want to see if it's correlated. So this is me not on my meds. I wonder if you could notice the difference if I am on my meds. Maybe I'll make another video and you can see. Anyway, thank you. If you have questions or resources that can help me, I would appreciate it. And I know it's really hard out there with COVID at the moment, so I hope you're all doing well, doing the best you can. Remember, you don't have to come out of COVID an improved person. You can just, if you're just surviving, that's fine. Just keep surviving. You don't have to be new and improved. Take care of yourself and take care of those around you. Till next time. Bye bye.